Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome back to another episode. In today's episode, we're going to be walking through El Centro, and I'm going to be telling you all the reasons that I can think of at the moment as to why I love living in Mexico so much. Because there's just so many, reasons as to why I love it so much that, I just decided to make a random video talking about that. It's not that random. I'm actually here at the Centro de Salud, again, of Merida. And as you guys already know, I did a live stream a few days ago talking about the fact that I got injured. If you want to know more information on what happened, I got attacked by a cat. All right, and yeah, long story short, I just came out of here because I just had my first rabies shot. Bruh. Yeah, that's right. Anyway, so as you guys remember when I was talking about the live stream where I was, and look, these are the little tienditas where you can get the copies, for your paperwork in order to, get yourself in the hospital and all that good stuff. So, all right, guys, with all that said, let's get walking and talking. We have a lot to talk about today, and I have a lot of things to do, and I can't even be in the sun because, well, that's one of the things that they told me is like stay away from the sun and stay away from doing anything that you normally wouldn't do. So, well, I don't know what that means because I'm always, you already know. So, all right, guys. So I'm going to turn the camera around so you guys can see more of, this point of view instead of my point of view because it's a lot easier, to check things out. Okay, so we're going to stick on this side of the road so we can get some shade. And I'm going to wear my hat because it's already 11 o'clock in the morning, but we're supposed to be getting to over 106 today. Again, I'm filming this on a Friday. And even though they just gave me the shot, so they just gave me the shot a few minutes ago. I want to say like 15-20 minutes ago they just gave me the shot, and I had to get a few things before I left. And yeah, you know what I mean, like I was already feeling the side effects. It's already, I feel different, that's for sure. But anyways, all right, with that said, so let's start off with like the most obvious reason to some of you guys that watch me all the time as to why I love living out here. One of the reasons, this wasn't the first one, but might as well use the opportunity, is how nice the people are here. As you guys can see how everybody's in, community oriented, talking to each other, knowing each other, just like that guy was, saying hi to the guy across the street and so on. One of these. And just how nice and cordial everybody is. So, but that's something everybody talks about out here. This is one of the bus stations out here, so you can go to different parts of the city. But anywho's, the main reason I'm, the number one reason right now why I love it out here so much is the healthcare. Bueno días. And the fact that, as you guys saw from my previous live stream, the one that I did a few days ago, the fact that I had a medical emergency, and I was able to get it all taken care of out here, and I got quality care. Like, in fact, I got, one could argue even more better care than what I'm normally accustomed to in the USA, and this is the reality of it. So, but we talked about that already, and so in many episodes I've talked to you guys. About the fact that the medical care here is amazing, and not only amazing but totally accessible to just about anybody and everybody. And my recent situation here was more proof, was even more to that. Look at it, just selling random food right here. You guys like to see sometimes what's in some of these places. So they're just selling breakfast. Because again, breakfast, it's already late breakfast at this point, but that's kind of like what they're selling. So by the way, right now we're on our way to go to a couple stops. I was going to come on my bike today, but I didn't know how I was going to react. I didn't even know I was going to be able to film this thing or not. Right now I am taking my chances by coming out here and filming this, because all the doctors told me don't do it, be careful. And I didn't tell them what I was doing, but they just kept telling me stay away from the sun and to just get some rest. But hey, I'll get some rest when I get home. You guys are depending on these videos, and I don't want to disappoint. I have a lot of people. Hola, buenos días. I thought he was gonna say hi or something. I don't know. Kids are weird sometimes. Anyways, all right, it is what it is. So yeah, you know, as I was saying, you know, the medical care, I've talked about this countless times on my show, where I know people that have had, you know, things like hernia surgery, you know, other kinds of surgery, you know, to repair ligaments, you know, from accidents. You know, I myself, when I first moved here, I had a major accident where, you know, my hand went through a window and I had to get like 7 stitches. So I had to go to a private hospital, the emergency room, and I had to get 7 stitches and medicine and all kinds of stuff. And long story short, everything cost me 50 bucks. All right, so like around 50 bucks. Isn't that kind of crazy? So, yeah, so like, and you know, Christian broke her foot a long time ago. It was only like 500 bucks. So, I mean, not just like how affordable healthcare is. It's not just that. That's like a main component. But it's not just how affordable it is, but a lot of it has to do with the fact that it's really good. You know, it's actually really good. At least, you know, comparable in many cases to the USA. Now, I get it. You know, for a lot of people, they might see the conditions in which doctors and hospitals, and especially on the lower end of the scale, operate. But you know what? The reality is that, you know, you get quality medical care. Again, as I was talking about on my recent live stream as to what happened to me and what I was dealing with and what I am dealing with right now, and the fact that I don't have to worry one single bit about the cost of any of this. All this is 100% free o'clock. And it was just so random. Again, it's just like a random accident. Some random cat came into my backyard, attacked me. And, you know, if I was in the US, you know, this is probably gonna end up costing me an arm and a leg. You know, a lot of money. Because one way or the other, I gotta pay for these things. Hola, buenos días. You know, one way or the other, I gotta pay for things. And a lot of people is like, oh yeah, there's free healthcare in the USA. Yeah, there's free healthcare in the USA, you know, for people. Can I cross? No, okay, not yet. Anyways, there is free healthcare in the USA, you know, for people that are extremely poor, you know, people that are extremely on the bottom end, on the bottom rung of the economic scale. And that's not everybody, because as soon as you really just get a regular normal job, that's it. You know, you don't get free healthcare anymore. You know, it's only under a certain income. So, I mean, again, it just encourages people to be poor. It encourages people, you know, to go down the wrong path, the wrong route, and just to get healthcare, and just to get benefits, and just to get all kinds of things. Because, like, you already know how it is in the USA. So, the reality is that, like, out here, all right, there's not much to see here till we get to the other end there. But yeah, long story short, you know what I mean? Out here, things are completely different. You know, they just are completely different. And man, it's hot. It's starting to get hot. So, and so the reality is, it doesn't matter what your income level is. You could be at the lowest end of the bottom of the rung. You could be all the way at the top. You all have access to healthcare. You're not going to get denied. When a lot of people say, it's like, oh, you get denied healthcare in Mexico if you don't have the money when you go. Well, yeah, that's when you go to a private hospital and you want to go on ahead and do, you know, the private hospital thing. That's going to cost you money. They don't have a system like in the USA where they can just bill you later and then charge you, you know, interest like a bank, you know, and debt you for life. They don't have that system here. That's the system they have here is like, hey, you look, you got a major situation that we're going to be taking care of. It's going to cost this amount of money. We gotta at least take a deposit or something, because, you know, what if we do this work and then we don't get paid, and then you know, it's like, yeah, sure, we saved your life, but then, you know, the hospital could go bankrupt, and now how many lives are at risk? So you need to pay ahead of time. Now, if you don't have the money to pay ahead of time, then you have access to what I have access to. So that's the thing. You know, yeah, you might be in a little bit more pain because it might take you a little bit more time for them to take care of the situation. All right, let's switch the camera around. Yeah, sorry, I forgot I was pointing it at my face there. All right, we're in Santiago right now. All right, I'm trying to get the we're at 59. Perfect. So we're gonna take this down. Here, let me cross and go through the park so you guys can see the park. Thank God it's cloudy today. It's about to rain. It's very hot and very humid right now. Like I said, it's like 100. It's gonna get up to 106. And beautiful park. We've been here through here many times on the bicycle and so on and so forth. But anywho, as I was saying, Yeah, it's really hot, really humid right now. We're on the brink of the rainy season. It's about to start raining like right now. Literally in a few hours should be like the first official rains of the rainy season. So that's one of the reasons like I have to do this today. You know, I gotta go and do these, and not only do the video but do a few things. So, you know, again, what else do I love about Merida? You know, Mexico, you know, not just the fact that, you know, no matter what happens to you, you will be taken care of. You will have medical care of all kinds. Look, this morning, you know, Christian woke up fairly sick. You know, she was already coming down with something, and we were trying to do the home remedy thing. But yeah, it came down to like this morning when I woke up on my way out of here, you know, Christian wasn't waking up, and I'm like, she must be tired, whatever. And then as I'm leaving, or like around 9, you know, she's like, I try to wake her up, but hey, I'm out of here. And she's like, oh my, anyway, she woke up like super duper sick. And so now, you know, what is she gonna do? You know, what is she gonna do? She's not gonna come out here to where I came to get treated, because her thing is a minor thing. Whatever she's sick with is extremely minor. Therefore, she can go to Dr. Simi, and she'll just pay the $3 US, you know, whatever, 60, 70 pesos or whatever it is, in order to simply, you know, get her, you know, see a doctor, so that the doctor can tell her exactly what she has, so that she can get the proper medicine. Because she could have a cold, she could have the flu, she could have, you know, she could have multiple things, you know. So and that's where she's at right now. Whew, very hot, mucho sun here, no shade in this area. So I'm looking for the bank. They said there's a bank teller around here somewhere, because I gotta get, should be coming up in a few blocks. But yes, trying to you know, again, make pit stops so that I'm not, you know, dying over here. So I'm stopping at the bank because they have an air conditioner, and I can just stand there in the ATM room for a few minutes and catch a break, so I can continue doing this episode. So again, I love the freedom out here as well. You know, the freedom that you have in this country is just amazing. You can just park your bike here. By the way, this is mail. This is the mail guy. When then people ask me, he's like, oh, who delivers the mail? Hola, buenos días. That's the mail guy right there. You know, for some of you guys that have never ever seen a mail guy in Mexico, that's what they look like, and they're just in a bike. They're just doing deliveries like everybody else. So that's the thing, you know, that's why the mail service here is, you know, not the best per se. Always recommend it if you need to send something to Mexico, you know, use like FedEx or use UPS or whatever. Now, again, just going back to all the reasons as to why I love Mexico so much. Again, you know, usually healthcare is not one of them, but because, you know, there's just so many other reasons that I talk about. But I mean, this time around, healthcare is right at the top. I don't even know what else to say. You know, how many multiple times has you know, Mexico been here for me and for my wife and for many people that we love, as it pertains to, you know, the healthcare, that everybody has access to the healthcare no matter what your situation is. That's incredible. That's amazing. And you know, to me, that now I got to experience the healthcare system for the first time as you know, what a typical Mexican of a lower income bracket or even middle income bracket, you know, again, depending on the situation. It doesn't matter what your income is. If all of a sudden, you know, you have the ability to get the state to pay for all of your medical bills, you know, just pertaining to let's say childcare, childbirth, you know, having you know, having kids, come on, you know what I mean? You know how much of a relief that is for just about everybody. So that's like one of the main, you know, reasons as well. You know, it's healthcare for everybody. Oh, there we go, we're at the bank. All right, guys, so give me a few seconds. All right, let me catch my breath. Yeah, man, this vaccine really is doing something on me already. Oof. Oof. All right, so let me take a little break in the AC. Let me get some gacharulo, and then we'll be back on our way to go get some coffee, because I gotta get some coffee. All right, so we need coffee. See you in a second. All right, we're ready to rock and roll. We got enough AC. We took enough of a break. Got our water. Time to continue heading on our trek. So again, you know, another thing that I love about living out here so much is just, I mean, the vibrance of life in the city, and like how nice and kind everybody is, and like just like how just everyday life is out here. It's just amazing. The freedom that comes with all that. You know, the fact that, like, you know, say like the cops, you know what I mean? Most of the cops out here, you know, they're you know, public servants. You know, and if they're not public servants, yeah, sure, you know, they might be, you know, they might have other intentions, you know, like they might be a corrupt cop trying to get a few bucks from you or whatever. But you know, again, compared to like the law enforcement in the USA, don't get me started. You know, right now in the bank, there was a bunch of people. They were just sitting there, you know, getting some AC, you know, whether or not they were doing business. Or, you know, I went in there to, you know, do something in the ATM, obviously get a few bucks, but also hanging out for a few minutes. Not a problem. I'm not gonna get kicked out. I'm not gonna get in trouble. Not just there, but anywhere. You know, there are places, there are stores here in El Centro, you know, like right there, Suburbia, and other places, you know, like Sears, and I can go on and on. All right, let's go. I can't be getting as that much sun, otherwise I'd stay longer. Continue my thoughts. But yeah, anyways, I can walk in there and get some air conditioner, not shop for anything, not buy anything. You know, no one's gonna be harassing me and things like that. And so I understand, you know, things are different in all parts of Mexico. I've been, you know, to a few parts of Mexico. I haven't, you know, traveled the whole country yet, but just about everywhere I've been has been kind and nice and chill and accepting and helpful. And just, I mean, I could go on and on. You know, like I said, I was talking about the other day, you know, talking about my, you know, on the live stream about the medical care, you know, how everything was in the government office building there, and just like how, yeah, it was amazing. You know, are you kidding me? Amazing treatment. And you know, definitely highly recommend, would do again. You know, I'm not a big hospital guy, I'm not a big doctor guy, but I'm so happy that at the very least, not only do we have access to that stuff here, but the fact that it's good. It's a good access, you know, like it's just amazing. I don't know, I keep harping on about the healthcare. It shows you how happy I am about it. I haven't been able to shut up about it for days. But you know, besides the healthcare, besides the freedom, you know, besides the way that things are out here, you know, just the fact that, you know, again, I was reading the other day, I'm sure you've heard a million stories like this already. You know, we're running at a oh look, by the way, there's a Va-Y-Ven, you know, one of those places that they recharge your card for the bus. You know what bus? The big blue bus that's up ahead that you've seen. You're gonna see a few. That one that's right in front of me and a few more. But anyways, but yeah, just like all this freedom that we have out here, that a lot of Mexicans, it's funny because they take it for granted. They have no idea how free they are, and they have no idea how it is to live with so many rules and so much you know, oppression, to really be able to live your life in peace and quiet, and or not peace and quiet, whatever, however you want to live your life. And so, like, yeah, you know, living out here is such a welcome change of pace in so many ways that, you know, and I've talked about this multiple times about the stress, you know, about everything. You know, like that cop right there, again, if I want to, I can ask him for directions, ask him for help, ask him for whatever, and he'll be very nice, very helpful. You know, he's not going to be harassing me or bothering me. He's not going to be harassing, you know, any of the tourists or nothing like that. Again, I know this differs. You know, there are parts of Mexico where, you know, they're not like that, and there's a little bit more corruption, and things are a little bit, you know, more sketch when it comes to that. But, you know, at the end of the day, compared to the things that we put up with in the USA, it's incredible. Oh yeah, like the story about what I was going to say. So, you know, I just read this one story, which there's multiple stories like this already. I'm sure you've heard, you got your own. In fact, let me know down below in the comments what your own story of ridiculous bureaucracy is. But anyway, so this guy, you know, and his this is a guy in the USA, you know, in his own neighborhood. There was an area that was basically like a little hill, you know, just a little hill to get to the other spot there. And he built, you know, they petitioned the city, they petitioned everybody in order to get them to, you know, build like a little stairway, you know, just to get up the little hill. And long story short, you know, the city quoted them like $70,000 or $600,000. It was like some crazy thing. And they couldn't get the money, they couldn't this, they couldn't that. So basically some guy, you know, some dude in the neighborhood just said, you know what, I'm just gonna build it myself. And he built it, he built the little staircase for $500, you know, so that now everybody can, you know, get to the other side of the creek or whatever it was, right? Yeah, and long story short, you already know what happened. the government came in, they tore down that little bridge, and they fined the guy for building that structure, and there's no bridge, there's no little stairs, there's no nothing to get to the other side. And again, it's just like the stupid ass little bureaucracy things like that, where, you know, out here it's not like that at all. Out here there's a pothole and the government don't fix it, the people can just fix it themselves. You know, out here, you know, there's like a need for some stairs, some steps, or some a dock, or whatever it is, anything, any kind of structure, any kind of anything, they just build it and that's it. You know, obviously they try to petition the city first. You know, obviously they try to get, you know, the government to pay for it and all that stuff, but when they see that it's not making any headway and they still need you know, XYZ infrastructure improvement, you know, hola, buenos días. You know, sometimes it's just like a speed bump. The people would just make the speed bump legal or illegal, but they do it because it has to get done. And so, like, I made an episode not that long ago talking about, you know, living out here is like, you know, living without rules and regulations and stuff like that, and all the freedom you have by living out here. Again, you know, a lot of people misconstrued that, and they took it the wrong way, saying or thinking that I'm saying, yeah, come to Mexico because you could do whatever you want, you don't have to follow the rules, you don't have to follow whatever. It's like, no, I'm talking to people that come from, you know, again, the USA, Canada, you know, Europe, in which there's a rule for everything. You know, you can't even fart, you know, without you know, getting a fine or getting in trouble, you know, for polluting the earth.
How dare you?
You know, there's just so many things, so many ridiculous things, over regulation, too many rules, too much, you know, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do whatever. And so, like, it impedes on you even living your life. You know, there's like a rules and regulations for everything. I mean, if I were to look at, you know, most of Mexico, you know, if I look at most of Mexico through the eyes of American citizen or a Canadian citizen, you know, meaning, let's say OSHA, you know, it's like there's OSHA violations everywhere. You know, let's say health codes, there's health code violations everywhere. You know, building codes, there's building code violations everywhere. Even government built structures like what we're looking at now, these streets and everything, they got all remodeled. Again, you guys have followed me, you know, for long enough. You guys have remember what this place used to look like. Anyways, even there, you know, there's a lot of you know, problems and all this other stuff. So I mean, it's just, and this is a completely different system. And so, you know, it's not what we're used to, but at least things get done by somebody. And the kind of corruption is completely different. And again, it's not for everybody. You know, I don't mind living in a place that has all these violations, as long as it means that I get to, you know, also live my life freely. And it's just as simple as that. And you know, I can harp on this for, you know, all day, every day, but we gotta start wrapping this up because I think we're at the coffee place and I am dead exhausted. Okay, man, that vaccine really took it out of me. They told me that my muscles were gonna hurt and things were gonna start hurting. And oh my God, right now I feel like I just ran a marathon. You know, all the lactic acid everywhere. He's like, so anyway, so I gotta, you know, the coffee place is right up there. So I'm gonna get in there, get my coffee, and get home, take a shower, get some rest, get under the AC, and whoo, oh man, edit this video so that I can upload it for Sunday for you guys. But you know, again, I love what I do. You know what I mean? This is, I was having this discussion with friends and family yesterday. It's like, oh, you push too hard. You know, the whole thing with the cat, you know, that bit you, all that was on purpose in order for you to take a break and relax and chill. And look, granted, I have been relaxing and chilling a little bit more because of the injury. I just can't stop, man. I just can't stop. I'm just, this is how I live my life. Oh, I thought the cafe was up ahead. Oh, never mind. We still got a little bit more. But anyway, so my apologies. I was just flipping the camera around because I thought we were closer to the thing. Seems like we still got a little bit, a couple blocks or something. But yeah, I mean, I just love what I do. I love the life that I live. I feel very happy, very blessed to be able to do it. And but the thing is, it's like everything else, you know. A lot of people is like, you know, they look at people like, let's say a Michael Jordan or Tom Brady, like, oh my God, you're so awesome, you're so this. But yeah, but they're not there on all those days where they're practicing when everybody else is having fun. They're not there when they're grinding, when everybody else is you know, doing other things or making excuses. Oh, I'm sick, I don't feel well, whatever it is. Granted, I mean, it would be very easy for me to not do this. It would have been so much easier for me to go on ahead and get my you know, get my camera, I'm sorry, just you know, get my vaccine, go home, and then just call it a day and not upload any videos and not do anything. But the thing is that this is just like an exercise for myself as well. It's not just like, oh, I'm doing this for you guys, whatever. I'm doing this for me. And it's just the reality of it, you know what I mean? It makes me happy to be able to do this. If I was home, I'd probably be depressed, you know, the fact that I can't really do much. So now it's like, you know, I sacrifice myself a little bit and I feel great about it. And again, I get to reap the rewards. Again, no pain, no gain. And then granted, if I feel super bad, then I was like, okay, I should have listened to the doctor. And I still learned a lesson. I still learn, you know, not to be an idiot. Bruh. Hopefully. Usually doesn't work. But all right, one second, because I want to, there's this lady right there in front, so I don't know how it's going to capture it. I want to, you know, go slow-mo here so you guys can see this. Very nice. So again, there's all the freedoms that I talk about. You know, so they can freely do this out here. No problems. You know, the city's not going to bother them. The city's not going to be coming after them, you know, or anything like that, for them to just, you know, have all this stuff out here like that. You know, there's no special permit, no special anything. They can just do whatever they want, as long as they're not bothering anybody or impeding on anything. And you know, honestly, if you look at all that stuff, it's like, well, it's making everything more beautiful and nicer. And you know, just it is what it is. So look guys, I apologize today about today's episode. I have no idea how it's going to be until I get home and I edit this thing. I feel my brains are scrambled. You know, I'm sure it has to do with that, you know, rabies vaccine they just gave me, and all the sun that I was not supposed to get, and all this extra exercise that I wasn't supposed to be doing. So hey guys, I'm already home, but before I ended the episode, I thought I'd give you a little status update, because even though I was barely making it, you know, by the time I ended the video, oh man, you know, has things, you know, really set in since then. So yeah, long story short, you know, when I went inside to get the coffee and wait for the coffee, man, everything really started to hurt. And you know, on the Uber ride back home, and now that I just got back home, man, I am in so much pain. I don't want to say lightheaded, but you know, very lethargic. And I feel like I've just been through the most intense workout ever. You know, all my, you know, there's all this lactic acid through all of my muscles. And I think I'm red, because Christian says, yeah, you're all red, you know, from the sun and the heat and all that stuff. And it's basically, it's 12 o'clock. So I mean, I couldn't have done this any sooner. I tried to, you know, not be in the intense sun and the intense heat, but again, with that, you know, rabies vaccine, man, that thing is strong. So now that I'm home, again, I'm just gonna rest up, and you know, hopefully I'll start feeling better soon. But yeah, you know, actually, as it feels like as it's onsetting, you know, as everything is as the time keeps moving forward, man, I am feeling no bueno, no good. I mean, I'm fine. It's not the end of the world, but I can definitely feel the effects of the vaccine. Okay, this is not, you know, not fun per se. I mean, it's not easy, but it's not the end of the world. You know, it's fine. I'm sure, you know, I'm just extra exhausted, and that's why I feel a little extra no bueno. But anyways, just wanted to give you a little update on that, because I'm sure some of you guys are curious. But yeah, so far so good. And I think, you know, once I take a shower, cool off, and start resting, that everything will be all good. So with all that said, you already know. All right, we're gonna, you know, bring it back to the show. With all that said, guys, you know, we're almost here at the coffee place. I've already filmed the man, you see, look, when I was just stepping on one of these tiles, it was loose. I could have fallen. You know what, let me stay on this side. Let me not step on those whole ones. They seem to be loose. But anyways, all right guys, sorry I'm all over the place today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode, and I love you guys and appreciate you guys. And guess what, we're here, we're at the coffee place. Here, let me show you from this angle. All right, we're here at the coffee place. All right, all right, all right. So let me get inside, get my coffee, get some rest, head home, and that's it. All right guys, so you already know the deal. Whew. Oh man, we made it, we survived. Whew. All right guys, so you already know the deal. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to please like, please subscribe, please share, please hit the bell icon, but more importantly than anything else, please stay awesome. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye guys.